When people move into communities with HOAs, they imagine a group of responsible neighbors keeping the area clean, organized, and safe. But what many homeowners soon realize is that these associations, meant to protect their interests, often turn into instruments of control and abuse. When power isn't checked, it starts corrupting. And in HOA communities, that corruption often begins quietly. It usually starts small. Maybe a single board member decides to overlook a friend's violation, while strictly enforcing the same rule on others. Residents notice, they whisper about it, but they hesitate to speak up. Don't make trouble, they're told. But that silence becomes the seed of something much bigger. Unchecked power. One homeowner shared how his HOA president fined him for leaving his trash. Cans out a few hours late, but the president's own can sat outside all day. When he pointed it out, the president laughed and said, "I make the rules here." That moment captured the essence of HOA corruption, the shift from service to superiority. In some neighborhoods, HOAs become less about maintaining beauty and more about maintaining control. Board members elected by neighbors begin acting like local dictators. They dictate what you can park, how you can decorate, even when you can celebrate. Their power grows through fear, letters, fines, threats, all disguised as community management. One resident described receiving 3 violation letters in a single week, one for a faded mailbox, one for a non-standard flower pot, and one for grass that wasn't perfectly trimmed. It felt like harassment, she said. They weren't trying to help me fix anything. They were trying to remind me who's in charge. She wasn't alone. Dozens of neighbors quietly agreed, but most were too afraid to speak up. Sometimes the corruption goes deeper, into money. HOA fees are supposed to fund maintenance, landscaping, and repairs, but in some cases, funds disappear with no explanation. When residents ask for financial records, the board delays, deflects, or outright refuses. It's confidential, they claim, even though the money belongs to the community. One brave homeowner filed a request to audit her HOA's accounts. What she found shocked everyone. Thousands of dollars spent on miscellaneous expenses that had no receipts. The treasurer had been using HOA funds for personal dining and entertainment. When residents confronted him, the board tried to silence them by removing the woman from the next meeting's attendance list. The abuse wasn't just financial, it was political. Even more disturbing are the HOAs that manipulate elections. In theory, every homeowner has a voice. In reality, some boards find ways to limit participation, missing ballots, confusing notices, or meetings scheduled during work hours. One resident said bitterly, "They choose who votes, then claim democracy." The board remains the same year after year, untouchable and unaccountable. Nepotism also creeps in. A board president might appoint friends as committee heads who then approve each other's projects and violations. One family was fined for their garden fence, while another family, close friends with the board, built the same design without issue. It's not about rules, the homeowner said. It's about who you know. Power can also corrupt through humiliation. One elderly man forgot to pay his HOA dues on time. Instead of sending a friendly reminder, the board publicly posted his name on a community notice board labeled "Delinquent Owners." He felt embarrassed and disrespected. "They could have called me," he said quietly. Instead, they treated me like a criminal. Sometimes the abuse becomes personal. One homeowner complained about the board's unfair treatment, only to find her car mysteriously reported for overnight parking violations. It was clear retaliation. She said, "They fined me because I spoke up." It's not about rules, it's about power. Fear spread quickly after that. Neighbors stopped complaining altogether, but corruption isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it hides behind professionalism, polished emails, official letters, polite but firm tones. Yet beneath that civility lies control. An HOA may claim to protect property values, but the real motive becomes maintaining authority, no matter the human cost. "We're not homeowners anymore," one man said. "We're subjects." However, not every story ends in defeat. In one community, residents got tired of the hypocrisy. They began organizing meetings outside HOA supervision, in garages, backyards, even coffee shops. Slowly, they gathered evidence, documented unfair fines, and compiled spending records. What started as small frustration turned into a movement. When they finally confronted the board at a public meeting, they came prepared: receipts, photos, proof of favoritism. The board tried to shut them down, but this time the community didn't back off. Voices rose, neighbors stood together, and one by one, corrupt members were voted out. For the first time in years, the community felt free again. Another neighborhood took a different approach. Instead of fighting, they focused on transparency. They created an online portal where every dollar spent by the HOA was publicly visible. Meetings were live-streamed. Rules were reviewed annually with community input. Slowly, trust rebuilt itself. It showed that transparency isn't just good governance, it's good healing. The lesson from all these stories is clear. Power without accountability will always turn corrupt. When HOAs forget they are servants of the community, they become its oppressors. Rules are meant to serve people, not control them. And when residents unite, even the most powerful board cannot silence them. Every HOA should remember, leadership is not about enforcing fear, but earning respect. The true beauty of a neighborhood isn't in identical lawns or perfectly painted doors. It's in fairness, empathy, and the feeling that every voice matters. When HOAs choose control over compassion, they destroy what they were created to protect. But when they choose integrity, they can restore faith, rebuild trust, and remind everyone why community still matters. So the next time an HOA sends a letter, holds a meeting, or makes a rule, the question isn't, does it look perfect? The real question is it fair? Because in the end, beauty fades, but